Most relationships don't fail in one dramatic moment. They fail quietly, because the important conversations never happened when they still could have changed something. You think love should be enough, but love doesn't tell your partner what respect means to you, what space feels like for you, where loyalty crosses the line, or what serious actually means in your world. And if you never talk about those things, you're not building one real relationship, you're building two private realities next to each other. Why does that happen? Because a relationship is never just two people meeting. It's two complete life stories entering the same room. Upbringing, experiences, wounds, patterns. And none of that disappears just because things feel good in the beginning. If you want your relationship to actually work, love alone is not enough. You have to understand how your partner really thinks before things get difficult. That's why these 10 points matter. And stay until the end, because I'm going to give you one thing most people never truly understand. And without it, even this list won't fully hold. 1. Clarity. You can't build anything stable if you don't know what you're building. What does this relationship mean to you right now? Casual? Serious? Future? And more importantly, what does it mean to your partner? Bring that up clearly, not between the lines, not through behavior, clearly. Because if you already mean different things here, you're not in one relationship. You're living in two different realities from the start. And that gap doesn't get smaller by itself. It only becomes more dangerous the longer you avoid naming it. 2. Respect. Relationships rarely die in a big fight. They die in the everyday tone. It's not the dramatic argument. It's the little comments, the subtle digs, the things people say they didn't mean that way. Define what respect actually looks like to you. What feels dismissive? What crosses the line? And listen carefully when your partner answers the same question. Respect doesn't disappear overnight. It gets reduced slowly, and until one day it's just gone. And when that happens, the whole relationship starts to feel different. 3. Space. Withdrawal is often misunderstood, and that misunderstanding destroys closeness fast. How much time do you need for yourself? What does it mean when your partner pulls back? Is it rejection or is it self-regulation? Talk about that directly. Being alone is not an attack. If you misread space as danger, you'll respond to distance with pressure, and that pressure will push you even further apart. The couples who survive long-term are rarely the ones who never need space. They're the ones who understand what space actually means. 4. Conflict. It's not about whether you argue. It's about how you behave when you do. How quickly do you bring things up? Do you wait too long? Do you hold it in? Do you get loud? Does your partner shut down? Set actual rules. No attacks below the belt. No silent treatment as punishment. No walking out halfway through the conversation. Most relationships don't end because of the problem itself. They end because of the way the problem is handled. And once the conflict pattern gets toxic, even small issues start feeling bigger than they are. 5. Repair. Conflict is not the problem. The problem is when it never gets repaired. What does a real apology mean to you? When is something actually resolved? A sorry alone is not repair. Understanding what happened, taking responsibility, and changing your behavior, that's repair. If that never happens, every unresolved issue stays in the system. And over time, that creates a quiet, emotional debt that becomes harder and harder to pay back. People don't just remember the argument, they remember whether the relationship recovered. 6. Stress. You don't really learn your partner in everyday comfort. You learn them under pressure. What happens when life gets stressful? Do they withdraw? Get irritated? Try to control everything? Fall into chaos? Say it out loud. This is how I behave when I'm overwhelmed. And pay attention to how your partner reacts. That is the version you're actually going to live with long term, not the easy version. And the earlier you know that, the less surprised you'll be later. Stress reveals patterns that routine happily hides. 7. Loyalty. Boundaries are rarely the same, but almost always unspoken. What is okay for you? Flirting? Contact with exes? Social media attention? Outside validation? Define it clearly, not in your head, out loud. Most trust problems don't begin with betrayal. They begin with two people having different expectations that were never clarified. And once trust gets damaged, even innocent things start to be read through suspicion. Loyalty isn't just about what you do, it's about what you both agreed actually counts. 8. Money. It's not really about money, it's about safety, control, and freedom. How do you handle it? Save or spend? Risk or security? Who decides what? Don't just talk about the numbers, talk about the mindset underneath them. Because money is one of the most common reasons relationships break. Not because of the money itself, but because of what it represents to each person. For one, it means freedom. For another, stability. For another, pressure. If you don't understand that, you'll fight about symptoms and never touch the real issue. 9. Intimacy. What isn't spoken about doesn't disappear. It turns into distance, closeness, sexuality, needs. What do you really want? How open can you be about it? And how does your partner respond when you are? If you avoid this, distance grows even when everything on the surface seems to work. Intimacy is not just about sex. It's also about whether you can be fully seen without feeling exposed, rejected, or pressured. And if that conversation never happens, people slowly start protecting themselves instead of opening up. Before we get to the last point, stay with me. After point 10, there's one thing that matters more than everything before it. If you don't understand that, this list won't actually change your relationship in the long run. 10. Direction. Love without direction feels good until it stops being enough. Where is your life going? And does your partner's life actually fit yours? It's not enough to ask, do I want you? The better question is, does your life fit my life? A lot of relationships don't end because the feelings disappear. They end because the paths do. Two people can deeply care about each other and still move toward very different futures. And if you never talk about that, you may only realize it once the distance is already too big to ignore. The one realization. Before you think this list is what saves your relationship, let me give you the one thing that matters more than everything above. These conversations don't solve your problems by themselves. They do something else. They make your expectations visible. And here's the truth. Unmet expectations are the beginning of the end in almost every relationship. Not lack of love, not the one big mistake, but expectations that were never spoken and still somehow expected to be met. You assume your partner knows what you need, that certain things should be obvious, but they aren't, not to your partner. And that's exactly why so many relationships fail. Not because they don't love each other, but because they never truly told each other what they expect from one another. And this is where the list becomes powerful. Not because it fixes everything, but because it forces you to finally say those expectations out loud. Because the moment expectations become clear, something crucial happens. You see whether your partner can meet them or whether you're hoping they'll become someone else. And that is the moment you get honest. With yourself and with your relationship.